Hi guys, it's a hot one today. It's not the heat so as much as it is the humidity, but I want to pull it through even though I wish I would just, have all the lights turned off and the air conditioning a full blast, but then you couldn't hear me. Bill Maher. Bill Maher is one of my, or used to be, it's not anymore. He was one of my favorite comedians up there. Up there, I had him up there with David Chappelle and George Carlin, believe it or not. The first time that I saw Bill Maher was back in 1993, I believe. Comic Relief. He was in the Comic Relief. It was a show that Whoopi Goldberg and Robin Williams, memories. Love that guy, excellent comedian. I mean, I'm a person, I love comedy. I'm a comedy connoisseur. I'm a comedy enthusiast. If I have a choice between watching a scary movie, mysterious, real life, or a comedy, I'll select the comedy first. Then if there's nothing good under comedy, then I'll go to something else. But going back, so I watched this guy the first time on Comic Relief, and I liked him. And I like him precisely for the reason that now that I began to dislike him. It's not that I dislike him now because of that, but that's one of the reasons I began to dislike him. I mean, the first time that I saw him, he was scolding the audience. He was going off at them, because they boo him. Because he was always a controversial comedian. He was always a poignant comedian on your face, in your face, and just telling you the truth, telling you things as they are, and making you laugh at the same time because it's true. And that's what comedy is about. Comedy is laughing at things that are real, but we look at the funny side. And I admire that. I said, wow, it takes a lot of guts, because there was thousands of people watching Comic Relief. It wasn't when it was on its hype. And it wasn't on TV without no audience. They had a huge audience there, and they boo him. And he went at them, and I admire that. But lately, and when I mean lately, in the past 4 years, 5 years, a little bit before when Trump was running, that's when his attitude started changing. And now I'm beginning to see that what people say about him is becoming more obvious. And now listen, okay, I'm not talking just to talk. I have followed this guy since 1993, okay? I used to watch him on Politically Correct. I supported him. I was behind him when, and I love that episode, his last episode, when he quoted, exhibited, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. They might take me in a body bag, but never in handcuff. Man, when he said that, because they canceled his show, because he had said that the pilot who crashed into the Twin Towers were braver than the Navy sailors or the people that were behind the button, pushing the button to throw bombs in Iraq. And because of that, he got canned. He got canceled before cancel was a thing. So that's one of the reasons I understand that he's against the cancel mentality. And I think it goes also a little bit way back because of his voting for Rand Paul. Now, this is something that happened to him, and Ralph Nader, not Ron Paul, Ralph Nader. Yeah, Ralph Nader was the independent who he voted for at that time. At that time, when people were saying, if you vote for Nader, you're going to vote for Nader and help Bush win. That was the saying that was going on. And that's the first time I began to grasp the concept that it was a two voting system. I didn't vote for Nader. Okay, I voted for Al Gore because that's who I wanted. But at that time, he was younger. He was like the millennials that he criticized nowadays. He had dreams. He thought that it could make a difference if this guy won, because I guess he didn't like Al Gore. He did not like Bush, and I totally understand that. You have a right to vote for whoever you want. However, it backfired, and Bush won, and not because Ralph Nader. I mean, it took a lot of vote from him, according to what the explanation of the experts are. They're always saying that anyway. I don't want to get into that because that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that this man is changing. He has changed. He sounds more and more like a bitter centrist, that old man, than a comedian who used to, make new rules and comedies in favor of atheism and socialism, and he was so much into, let's bring the Green New Deal and Medicare for all. At that time, he was all for it. I understand. I totally understand, because I'm also an old person. So I understand that the older we get, the wiser we get, if we give ourselves a chance to learn. I want you guys to hear his last new rule, because that's the one that I was like, okay, this guy, I mean, he's been against he's always talking about the Me Too movement. He's always talking about racism and how white men are being made off like they're the guilty, and they're made to feel guilty about being white, and that he cannot enjoy himself, with company like he used to. He's always bringing this up, and again, always bringing the fact too that people do not give. The United States does not give credit to older people, that they don't respect old age, and I agree with him. It doesn't have the same kind of respect that they have in South Korea or in Japan. Okay, totally understandable, but that doesn't mean that you need to knock out. You need to push down the ideas of the younger generation that you once had, that you once held, and now reality sunk, which it does to all of us. The more we're in this world, and the more we see the way, if we are awake to see how the world is working, and we're able to see, okay, it doesn't matter who we get there, the establishment is always going to win. I mean, I'm under that belief right now. I was for the squad. And the way they're behaving, the way Bernie Sanders behaving, I'm just like, they sold out. If they didn't sell out because they're just conforming. Okay, they didn't sell out because they didn't get money from corporation, but they're selling out to the establishment. They were put there to do the same thing that the Tea Party did with the Republican Party. Yet the Justice Democrat, the squad, all these people that we voted, that we had them swear that they were not going to take money from corporations, and they got so much money from the working class, from us. All these people are now not making any waves, not doing anything. They're just falling in place. So it is a big disappointment. I can understand. And I also get bombarded by young people telling me, no, but you cannot give up. You got to keep fighting. You got to do this. You got to do that. But it's like, man, I done all that already. I have protested. I have marched. I have boycotted. I have signed paper. I have voted. I have made phone calls. I done all that. And bottom line, once they're there in power, they change. They don't follow through. But I just want you to hear, if you didn't, in his last new rules, hopefully they won't block, and I won't have to go through this is just a reaction of a commentary, and they just leave it, because I'm not going to play it. It's not going to be the whole episode, and it's not going to be a lot. But I just want you to hear the part where he is talking about how being wise is knowing about patterns in life, accepting life, maturing and seeing those patterns, say, okay, this doesn't work. But then he does the same thing that he should have seen since he was a young person and now becoming an older person, because I see it. And it's the thing that you don't call someone stupid if you want them to side with you, if you want them to learn something new, if you want them to accept your point of view. You don't start by calling them stupid, because that's just going to turn people off. Yet he does it all the time. And it's not funny.
And number one on that list is not getting the most fundamental trade-off in life. You're beautiful when you're young, wise when you're old.
cue to the morons to clap. Why? That's not true. That there's no such thing. That pattern doesn't exist in life. It's not. It's a wishful thinking, but it's not true. Not everybody who's young is attractive. That they might look more attractive when they're younger than when they are older. Yes, all of us do. But that doesn't mean that because a person is young that they're attractive. There's a lot of unattractive young people, and there's a lot of people who are older and are very attractive. They're still attractive. They are attractive. Older people who are attractive. And the most important thing is that it's not true that as you get older, you get wiser. Because in order to get wiser, you have to do one main thing: acceptance. You have to accept life. And if you don't, in any circumstances, you're holding back, that stops you from growing. And that's the key factor for being wise, is that you grow emotionally. That you grow emotionally. And you cannot grow emotionally if you hold on to your old thinking.
This is the only country in the world dumb enough not to get this most basic, intuitive, obvious, violent under duh concept. That if, as they say, you learn something new every day, it stands to reason someone who's logged 10,000 more days is going to be in general a little wiser. Life is a series of patterns. You don't see it at first, because it's not a pattern yet. But by the third time, yeah, okay, I get it now. Yes, societies need youthful energy and fresh eyes on problems, and it's true. It takes young people to start a revolution. But Biden is the right man for this moment precisely because he is old.
No.
Been there, done that. To virtue. He's getting things...
No. Because he's not doing anything right now that is helping the working class people, except for giving out the $1,400. He didn't give the $15 minimum raise, and he did not. Has not done anything for Medicare for all. And the border situation is worse. Not worse than, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say worse because that's exaggerated, but it's still chaotic. It's still a problem over there. The same things that Trump was doing, we're doing, but he's doing, but in a better way now, because he's trying to, I'll give him credit, he's trying to get hotels for the people and stuff like that. So, yes, but it's not because he's older. Because age has nothing to do with being kind. Kindness is something that either you have because you were born with it, or you develop throughout time because of all the mistakes and all the situations, and you realize that you're just one more person, especially if you're poor, especially if you're working class. Please back off. If you're working class, if you're a poor person, back off. Get off that high horse. Rich people can do that. They can go ahead because they got the money. Can they escape certain things in life like tragedies? No, they cannot. But money can help them better to prepare themselves for that. But then Mr. Bill Maher ended up his thing. Let me see if it's here or if it's at the end that he said it.
On wealth inequality in Afghanistan and racial justice and climate change that keyboard warriors only dream about while muttering, "Okay, boomer."
All these people who said, "Okay, boomer," a lot of them, probably the most people that say "okay, boomer" are not even the ones who are politically active. But all these things that Mr. Boomer, Mr. Weissman is doing right now is because he's been pushed by the left. It's because he's been pushed by the young people, by the millennials, by the Gen Z who has said no more. We can change this, and it can be changed. But it's a long fight, and it does take a revolution. But Mr. Bill Maher, I think let me see if I can take it to the end because I don't want to make this long, but he does end up saying that they're stupid. Wait, hold on.
You think someone 80? And there are people around who remember it. Pining for communism? It's like pining for Betamax or MySpace. So when you say, you're old, you don't get it, get what? Abolish the police and the border patrol and capitalism and cancel Lincoln? No, I get it. The problem isn't that I don't get what you're saying or that I'm old. The problem is that your ideas are stupid.
And that's a turnoff right there. That's a shutdown. Either you're going to get the person to come out more aggressive, either you're going to get the person to get, if in the positive side, push them to get it done, to pass it through, to show that you're wrong, or you're just going to get them to shut down and be quiet. But you're never going to get them to see your side. Those ideas are not stupid. They might be misguided. They might need some innuendo, some tweaks here and there, but they're not stupid. So anyhow, I just wanted to talk a little bit about one of my favorite comedians, used to be, I guess, because right now he's changing just right in front of my eyes. And all I can tell myself is to keep in mind, to keep that focus, that I have to be open to the changes that are coming, because life goes forward, not backwards. That poem, Your Kids Are Not Your Kids, says it right there. Don't try to hold them back. You have to go to where your kids are going. It's the same thing with generations. As the older generation, we can't hold them back. We gotta just think how to get there where they are, and either give our inputs, our ideas, because we have more experience on how to get that done and what obstacles we're gonna face. But to shut them down, no. And it's unfortunately, because David Chappelle said that these guys were trying to hold us back. I never thought that Bill Maher was going to be one of those guys that are trying to hold us back into the 50s. Anyhow, if you came all the way to the end of this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thank you, and be safe. Bye.